Hello and welcome. So in today's show, we're talking to Exodus and Tivra about the new Vanguard initiative, a community outreach program to kind of inject Decred into more of the conversations around the web. It looks really exciting. We've also got Jay in the chat who's going to be monitoring all the discussions happening and trying to getting you guys to engage in the conversation and bringing in some more questions. Now, anyone in the audience, if you do want to ask questions, please feel free to. It's going to be a bit of an open discussion. I want to feed in as many of those conversations as possible. We're also going to be looking at some of the updates, what's happened last month in Decred. So we've had DCRDEX 0.6, we have Bison Relay 0.17, and we've also had an update to Decrediton and the main tech stack, which is brilliant. And if there's enough time, we'll also talk about Tivra's meme concept of the No Scam Alliance, which I think is absolutely great. Before we get started, I do want to say, for anyone that missed it this week, Tivra did a Zec Hub Twitter space, which was absolutely amazing. If you missed it, really should watch it. The Zcash community and Decred coming together and talking about how the two projects kind of fit into the ecosystem was really interesting, actually. And like Tivra said off stage, it was really surprising to see how much the Zcash guy actually knew about Bison Relay and DCRDEX. So welcome, guys. How are we all?
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Wonderful too.
So let's kick this off, and I'll leave it open to Exodus and Tivra, who wants to answer the first question, or if you want to take it in turns, whatever. But what was the driving force for this proposal, the Vanguard proposal?
Well, I think this is something we've wanted for a really, really long time, but it's so difficult to put it all into a proposal and ask for money. We've always wanted a ground-up community program with built-in incentives. But for me, the catalyst for launching this was when I saw that Twitter Blue would prioritize your tweets. I kind of put two and two together, and I thought we should have Decred people with this feature, and maybe we could have like a DAO sponsored tools to provide them with these tools. And then we took it a little bit further and said, why don't we craft out this program where people get stipends of a certain amount of money to just promote Decred, and that's kind of how this all came about. Another thing I would say is I kind of had the realization that our software releases need marketing and outreach efforts behind them. Otherwise, they get bottlenecked, right? You can't. So the Decred community is very technical. So there's this idea that, just put out amazing software and everything's going to be wonderful. The truth is, even if you have great software, you need that outreach behind it. So this is kind of our attempt at basically the first iteration of this, community outreach effort.
Yeah. Before we go too much deeper, I wonder if we should, because not everyone, I'm appreciating, as I asked that question, I'm appreciating that not everyone's probably read the proposal. So why don't we just give an overview of what the proposal was, just so that anyone that might be interested in joining actually kind of see if it's right for them.
Sure. So the main idea is to basically build out a community outreach effort to inject Decred into conversations where it's relevant all around the internet. Doesn't have to be just Twitter, even though Twitter's going to be a main focus, because let's be honest, it's basically emerged as the crypto forum of the internet, or where technology is relevant. But it can be anywhere. But we also want to create art. We want to create memes, and yeah, we want to build out a type of, I guess, narrative or culture for Decred at the same time. So we're doing a few different things.
Yeah. So
and I should add, basically everyone involved gets a stipend of $100, but we also have a prize system where the 4 best contributors, whether they're in Vanguard or not, will also receive $100. So we have a prize system, and then there's an incentive just for being involved in it. And basically, we coordinate in a special room on Discord.
Fantastic. So what kind of person are you looking for to participate in the initiative, and are there any prerequisites to join the team?
Basically, you have to understand Decred's value proposition. You have to be somewhat generally knowledgeable about Decred. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be a developer. And you have to be motivated. You have to want to see Decred succeed. This program is mainly for someone who likes Decred, they've invested in Decred, and they want to see it succeed. And maybe in their free time, they engage with us every so often. They tweet about it. Maybe they engage with some art, and they get an incentive back. So the requirements are that steep. I know in the proposal we listed, oh, be creative, be professional, and that's another thing is we want people to be able to professionally engage with people and at least sound intelligent.
Yeah. And I mean, from my own perspective, I think the more easier it is to onboard members from the community, the better. At the moment, it's not in everyone's like mandate, if you like, to create a proposal and actually contribute that way. Sometimes you just need these little incentives to get the ball rolling and see where it goes. So that's one of the reasons I think this is a great idea. How many people
Yeah,
were? Oh, have you got involved initially? Sorry.
I believe about 10 people have joined so far, and these are all, people already in Decred. We do want to bring in people who are new to Decred as well. That's going to be really important.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
this kind of acts as a bridge to where there's a lot of people who want to engage with the Decred DAO, but they aren't a developer or they don't have a very specific skill. So in Vanguard, they can be a part of the DAO and contribute in their own way. And
yeah.
that's one of the reasons I wanted there to be many positions. So in this proposal, there are 25 open positions. If you look at a lot of ambassador programs, there's maybe like 5. So I wanted this to be a very open program to where we can add in a lot of different people.
I know on the interview that Tivra did with the Zec Hub guy, one of his complaints, or not complaints, but one of his things with how Zcash does it is it's basically American orientated. So getting past those kind of limitations was quite difficult. And I like the fact that the Vanguard, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. Decred system is completely autonomous, if you like. So anyone can contribute. It doesn't matter who you are, and we'll all go through the same CMS platform, which is completely decentralized, which I thought was is a great point to make at this point. So the actual onboarding to get this £100 a month really just needs your contribution to it, rather than you having to go through all of these hurdles to get onto the platform, which is also great. Another thing that I saw come up in the chat was, is $100 is it a week or a month? I can't remember.
It's for a month.
Per month, yeah. So is $100 a month enough of an initiative? I've got my own views on this, but just to hear from you guys, what do you reckon?
Sure. So previously it was 0, right? Throughout all of Decred's history, the rewards were nothing. So we're going from 0 to 100, right? So I think it's a good starting place. And there's always this kind of debate: do you pay people to engage in this kind of stuff, to make memes or write on Twitter? I've always been in the camp no, and the reason is if you're paying one person or a select group of people, it's unfair to everyone else, and it de-incentivizes everyone else to do those things. And I feel like we've solved this with in Vanguard. And 1, you're not really getting paid much money; it's only $100. And 2, we have a lot of openings in Vanguard where it's not just, oh, we're going to pick 3 people who are going to be paid to do memes or tweet. We have 25, so it's open to really anyone. So let me give another example. Let's say a few months ago, Tivra reached out to Cointelegraph to do a proposal. It was a really great effort. He walked them through it, spent time doing it. Now, the proposal wasn't the best, and it failed, and that's unfortunate. And of course, Tivra, all he wanted out of it was to see Decred have, a bit more marketing and outreach. Now, if Vanguard was live during this, he would have received $100 as a stipend, and 2, he would have received that $100 prize because it was a notable contribution. So in the old system, he gets 0. With this system in place, it's $200, right? It's infinitely better, I think.
I completely agree. My view, and I didn't want to kind of put words in your mouth before you said it, but my view is definitely that it's a great starting point for most people to get introduced to the system, and then if they want to earn more, that's when they can submit their own proposal and take it that much further. And this is the barrier to entry is actually really, really, really important. To move over to Tivra, just briefly, you went through the whole Cointelegraph experience with putting up a proposal. How has that influenced this initiative then?
Yeah, first of all, I wanted to say that just in general, I wanted to say that a lot of energy is going, I think, to waste. Like there is a lot of discussion on trading channel and so on. So I think this, or brainstorming or ideas what should be done and so on. And I think with this effort that was a really good idea by Exitus, we can channel all that energy that is going to waste, and make something really that has an impact, that has a real effect. And just about the money, I wanted to say, really, there is no other way than to experiment. Like, we will never know, what amount of money is right until we experiment. We just need to try and see many things. There is no other way. As for the Cointelegraph, sorry, what was the question again?
Well, all I was getting at, just to go on
how it influenced Vanguard.
Yeah.
Yes. What influenced is this? What one realizes is that each of us can be basically a marketing company in one man. And now with these AI tools, that are coming, like ChatGPT, Midjourney, and all these things that we are aiming to equip Vanguard members with all these tools, they can basically be, a one-man army marketing company, so to speak. And video is coming soon, for instance. So imagine all the video promotional material that can be produced soon. AI generated video. So with this in mind, that's how it influenced, I think. You realize how much you can do on your own. It just took an email to Cointelegraph, and we scheduled a call with Exitus, and we basically just asked them, are you willing to go through our proposal system if we guide you? If we just take you by the hand and guide you through it. And they were really open to it. So, when people come into our trading channel and say, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And so on. I think they have a wrong image of how it all works, because they basically can just send an email. There is nothing stopping you. You can just, I don't know, if you want us to be on, I don't know, Joe Rogan. Okay, this is not a realistic example, but just send an email to whoever you want. It won't work probably in this case, but try with someone smaller. I don't know. It's possible.
It's a great point, because that's the whole point of a DAO, is individuals have responsibility to push things forward. And one of the points I was getting at with the Cointelegraph was the amount of effort that actually goes into putting in a proposal, and the fact that they had someone like yourself and Exitus actually kind of putting that forward. And if you guys had been able to get paid for that, like you say, for $200 for actually walking that forward, I think that is such a great incentive. And it still amazes me saying we talked. I can't remember. Were you on that show, Tivra, where we talked to the Cointelegraph guys, and they were just absolutely brilliant. It was a real pleasure to go through that, actually.
No, I wasn't on that, but I really enjoyed watching it. Yes.
Yeah. No, it was brilliant. And I remember thinking at the time, these guys have put a lot. I'm talking about you and Exus here, have put a lot of effort to bring these people to the party, and I'd love to see more of that. And hopefully that's what the Vanguard stuff's going to do.
Yeah, and even though their proposal didn't go through, I really appreciated, that they were willing to go through our process, which is atypical, and second of all, that they were willing to go, to chat on your show and so on. That was really a nice thing about that. I really appreciated that.
Sorry, Exus, what are you gonna say?
I was going to say, one thing I learned from the Cointelegraph proposal is we need to start with the community and build out the community first before we start going towards these bigger, PR companies to, because if they just do 2 articles, that's great, but you need that underlying community to back it all up. And I think Vanguard's trying to do that, really build out a positive, energetic environment for our community to basically do well.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing that I'm seeing, and just Vanguard is just a few days old, so it's still under construction and so on. But one thing that I'm seeing is that it's not just about pushing our message out. It's not just about that. I think it's also that new narratives, new stories, new ideas will come up. I'm 100% sure. When you have this kind of community that brainstorms daily and shares ideas and so on, and also using these tools that are now available. I'm pretty sure that this is what I want to see. Also a new kind of how can I say it? Messaging. We also need the very succinct, very strong, very clear messaging. I think that speaks to a really large audience. I mean, not as large as now we see this with this Pepe coin and so on. I don't mean in that sense, but we don't need to go all the way there. But a lot can be done in that direction.
I mean, the message that you put forward on the ZEC hub was so clear and concise, and the fact that it was received by somebody that kind of understood what you were saying, and like you say, even from my own point of view, I was listening to what you were saying. It's like, oh my god, I forgot that Decred had this, or it almost needs reiterating. Oh yeah, we actually do this. We've got quantum computing resistance on our privacy. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. It was brilliant actually.
Yeah,
And you're right.
We're so used in Decred to have so many features, technical amazing features that we forget about all of them.
And we were talking in the chat before this about the Decred stack is now in probably the best place it's ever been in. We don't have mobile yet, which has kind of gone down a little bit, but we've actually got new opportunities and things are now working, including DCRDEX and including Bison Relay, which won't be long before we have these mobile instances. But everything's working and going in direction better than it's ever been. And getting the message out now, it's not me saying, oh, in a year's time this will work. It's like, no man, this stuff actually works right now. If you want to put on a trade on DCRDEX, you can literally do it in 10 minutes. You can set up DCRDEX, you can put on a trade and it's done. I think I put a tweet out, I can now set up DCRDEX quicker than I can register for Coinbase. And I thought that was quite cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
How do people get into the war room? How do we join this discussion, or is it just for the people that you select? What's the deal there?
So anyone who wants to join Vanguard can just reach out to one of us, and we'll, see if they're a good candidate, and we can invite them in. For now, we want it to be just a private room as we're setting everything up. We don't want it to be confusing. We're setting up guidelines. I think in the future, though, we might open it up to be more public because, again, it's a place it's optimistic. There's teamwork. It's energetic, and I think that's good optics for any community to have. And I know in Matrix things are very serious because it's a workplace for Decred contractors, so it's not always the best place for someone new to come in and just kind of ask questions. So maybe this can be the solution to that. But for now, we just want to keep it simple and private and work the best we can.
Oh, fantastic. I was talking to one of the guys on Twitter the other day. He put out this really amazing post. He had Decred magazine on it, and like a news cover. I was like, man, are you part of the Vanguard team? He's like, yep. And I didn't even know that. So it was nice to see that even though the proposal passed like 2 days ago, people are already on board with it. And I'm seeing blue tickets, or blue, what are they called? Blue verified blue or something. Yeah, on Twitter, popping up everywhere. The conversation seems so alive right now. It's absolutely brilliant. What has been your experience with I'm going to call it Twitter Blue. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your experience been with Twitter Blue? Is it worth the £10 a month or whatever it is?
So yeah, it's $8. I've only had it for a few days. I'll let Tivra answer after me, but I think it's definitely. I've had 2 different tweets this week. One had like 6,000 views about the Zcash DEX, and the other one about the Vanguard proposal had over 4,000. It had over 100 likes, which is I think better than really I've ever done. But I think it's great. You can edit tweets. You can write long form tweets, which has been great. To me, I think it's completely worth it, especially knowing that it boosts your posts. Another thing is people know you're a real person, so people are more likely to follow you. I think Tivra has spoken about this, that when he follows someone, they're more likely to follow back because it's like, oh, a blue checkmark person followed me. There's kind of like that dopamine hit you get because of the old system. It was like, oh, this is a person of importance. Of course, now anyone can buy it, but still that feeling still persists.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything he said. Yeah. I mean, he said it all. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's why Twitter Blue, I think, is worth it. You notice this. I mean, immediately after I got the check mark, I noticed a boost in views. Also, for instance, the one that is most noticeable to me is how much your replies to other people are noticed. Because they're boosted to the top of the thread. So right after Twitter Blue, I made a comment, like a reply to TradingView, TradingView's Twitter. I don't remember right now what it was, but it was just like let's say witty reply, whatever. And it got like 250,000 views, and there is no way I would have gotten that without Blue, because it pushed my reply to the top. So people immediately see your reply. And if you think for $10, all these advantages, it's definitely worth it. Yeah.
Didn't you have a tweet that had 500,000 views about AI?
Yes. 500,000.
That was crazy.
Yes. Wow. Yeah. And this is another thing. That I think it's helped a lot by Blue.
And then there's the verified organizations with the gold. I'm not sure how much that does, but that could be worth looking into, I think.
I think you will notice that these golden tweets are privileged above every other. You will notice this on your wall. So, in my opinion, I don't know how open Decred will be to this, but in my opinion, it's definitely worth it to buy gold for Decred, and then give all the devs and other people core to the project. We could get our own icon for Decred next to our. It's really cool.
And I know we have Bison Relay, which is our own peer-to-peer social media, censorship resistant. It solves a lot of the problems with Twitter, but we have to be humble and realize, the world is on Twitter, and it's only, Decred people who use Bison Relay. So as much as we should be using Bison Relay, being active on Twitter is super important, I think. And even giving them business with Twitter Blue, it's a thing we just kind of have to do in the meantime to really promote Decred.
Yes, just one thing I wanted to add is I don't think there is not a perfect. You cannot compare Twitter and Bison Relay perfectly, I think, because some aspect of Nostr, for instance, is more similar to Twitter probably. I mean, but even that it's not really similar to Twitter, because Twitter has this aspect of reach, large reach, so reaching many people, and I don't think Bison Relay will ever be that, in my opinion. But it doesn't need to be that. I mean, we don't need it to be that. I think we need it to be something else. Like my vision long term is like a kind of like I said many times, like an everything app, like a cypherpunk WeChat almost. You have all your contacts in, and you can chat with them. You can send them money. You can buy stuff. Like WeChat in China. Like an app that does it all, but without surveillance, and encrypted. That's the ideal. But I don't think that, I think that there will still be, that's just my view, just my personal view. There will still be a need for this kind of algorithm-driven social media, because simply, just because of this fact of the reach, of quickly reaching a lot of people, And I think it's, I don't know, I think it's okay. I think these two things can exist in parallel. I don't think they need to compete, so to speak.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think everyone says, "Oh, but you've only got so many users on Bison Relay." So yeah, but the communication that I need is there, and actual fact, it's being built out. But there is no ifs or buts. That if you want to get broader messages out, you're probably going to have to go through places like Twitter, and it's currently Twitter, and that's not to say that won't change. Before you interject, Tivra, I do want to say we passed 200 users on Bison Relay this week.
That's amazing. And before you mentioned that Zach Hub interview, I was really pleasantly surprised that I think Jason is his name, mentioned that he brought 10 people from the Zcash community on. That's really nice. So I think this is now the largest community on Bison Relay other than Decred. They have a channel there. I created a Monero channel, but there is nobody in there yet. So I'm waiting for someone to come.
It's strange, to be fair, Bison Relay should suit Monero and Zcash people. So it doesn't surprise me that Zcash are there, and it's probably one of the biggest communities.
Yes.
It does surprise me that Monero haven't caught on to this.
Yes.
But when we had when you had your Twitter space with Monero a few weeks ago, a few months ago,
Yes.
it wasn't high priority. This privacy chat wasn't high priority to them. It was all about privacy money. It was like, well, actual fact, these two things, they do go hand in hand.
That's very true. That's very true. But the Monero folks, I think that if when Bison Relay gets markets, I think that would change everything for the Monero folks, because there's free markets are really interesting to them. So
yeah, I can't wait for the web pages and the storefronts. Before we move away from Vanguard, people in the audience, if you want to ask a question, go for it. Jay, have you got any thoughts about it? Have you joined the Vanguard team?
Yeah, and I have really high expectation, because I think the keyword here is coordination. It's not just like few people tweeting; it's like really a coordinated group. So I think we can achieve great things. And yeah, with the Twitter Blue, it feels like almost like a small hack, because before it was like only the top people and this. So yeah. And I think it's going to be very, very, very useful. It's just even like, for example, I was thinking about of a meme. I can just ask the people of the group, of the Vanguard group, if how to improve it and this before posting it. So I think it's very useful. And about the $100, I think is almost too much, because I think even $10, people feel like. For myself, I feel kind of, how you say it, responsible of because you get money from the treasury, so you're going to be acting a bit more. You're going to be more polite. You're going to act more in line with Decred. And it's really good gate opener for new contractors, future contractors. I think it can be hard to just jump in, but that group is really easy to jump in, and that's the first step for being a contractor for Decred. So yeah, I think the future is bright. Yeah. I just wish we could do it before.
Yeah, I think we all do. From an insider's point of view, how are you finding the chat? Is it quite open? Is it quite friendly? What do you think are the bonuses?
The bonuses. Oh yeah. I'm not thinking much about it already. I just enjoy to coordinate work with people with positive energy, and yeah, I feel like we are more powerful like this. And yeah.
Brilliant. Well, it sounds great. I need to get myself an invite into your Vanguard group, guys. I want to be a part. It doesn't look like we've got any chat coming through at the moment. Once again, if you guys in the audience want to talk about this, if you want to get involved in the Vanguard, obviously post your questions. Let's see if we can get them answered now. We've got a few people watching, which is great. Last month saw so much innovation in the Decred space, so much happening. What I want to do is just see what you guys are thinking of DCRDEX 0.6. Are there any kind of major points that you're really liking about it? Anything that really kind of stands out for you? So I don't mind. Who wants to go first? Go for it.
I'll go. I think the native Litecoin wallet is a really great addition. I haven't done any trades with it yet, but I saw that you were doing trades, and it's basically free. So I think one major focus that we should do, especially now that we have Vanguard, is try to get more Litecoin people in. I had a few different Litecoin people follow me because they're interested in atomic swaps. So I think that's one area we can definitely that's one area that the new DEX release that I think is really, really important, especially looking at the Ethereum pair, the stable coin, and seeing how high the fees are. Unfortunately, I don't see many people using that, and that obviously that's not Decred's fault. That's Ethereum and their whole chain's problem. But Litecoin can be that replacement, I think, because Litecoin's on Coinbase. It's on a lot of big exchanges. So yeah.
To be fair, the Litecoin one is the most promising at the minute. I was looking at the mempool for Bitcoin this morning, and have gone up like ridiculous. I think an average fee now is like $6. Which is absolutely crazy. So if you're trading on DCRDEX right now, because it's all on chain, by the time you settle, you're talking $6 to $10, which that's why we've got the lot size at 40. Whereas with the Litecoin, as soon as we've got more liquidity, that is literally free. I did a trade across Litecoin both ways actually, and it cost me less than a penny. It was a fraction of a penny, and in both times, the first time I did it, it completed in 1 hour and 9 minutes. The second time I did it, it completed in 45 minutes. And obviously there's a video there to show that. But in many respects, being that Litecoin is one of the top 13 or top 14 coins, it really surprises me that how little engagement we've got. We've got more engagement from the Digibyte community and the Faro communities than we have Litecoin, and actually Litecoin works. So it would be great to see them guys coming through and using this service. And I mean, after all, the atomic swap, the very first atomic swap was between Decred and Litecoin. So it kind of makes no sense for them not to be like rushing madly into this.
Yeah, I think it's related to what Exitus mentioned, that they already are on many, they're practically everywhere, right? So they're also in all ATMs and so on. And so they have, other than Bitcoin and Ethereum, they have definitely the best infrastructure, let's say, for on-ramps, off-ramps, and so on. So probably that's the reason, I'm guessing, but I totally agree. This community is like the untapped potential there is immense, yeah, definitely. Because you asked what is most exciting for me in the new DCRDEX, just in the newest one that has Digibyte and Zcash. And I have to say this is the most exciting for me because I was in contact with these two communities. We have a Telegram group with the Digibyte people and so on. And, they were really, I never seen, such excitement. They were really asking me every 2 days almost, how is it going? How's it going? When are we going to be on the DCRDEX? Nice. Yeah, I mean, it was really, I was pretty pleasantly surprised to see such interest. And so I'm really glad that they could get finally on. And this is also ties to the, what you mentioned before with that alliance, which has a funny name, No Scam Alliance. I mean, this is what, even if it's just a meme, this is what I mean, right? This is a manifestation of it, let's say. All these communities using the same infrastructure. This is amazing, And who knows, maybe someday in the future, they can also help funding it, because the DEX is basically a public good, So this is amazing. And this is also what will showcase what's special about Decred. Because, for instance, in the ZEC Hub chat I had with that community, he was surprised. He was like, "Wow, Decred is funding such a public good, for."
You say a gift to the world. Yeah. I like the expression, the gift to the world. Really, that's it. Yeah.
I loved his point. This public good is like, that is such a good term. Yeah.
Yes. You can see that he gets it, right? By using that word, the term, he gets it.
That's the power of the treasuries. You can fund free and open source software that makes the cryptocurrency ecosystem better, or even the world better in time. So yeah.
Yeah, I like these ideas of different DAOs coming together, and Zcash DAO and Decred DAO coming together to kind of fund different things. I mean, it's powerful stuff, and there's money out there for these initiatives, and cross-chain initiatives just seems the way that it probably should go right now. In terms of Litecoin, they're actually in a massively promising position because of their on and off ramps. If they built up DEX positions, especially on DCRDEX, which is a peer-to-peer network, they've literally a massive competitor for anyone that needs to get in and out of centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges, which so hopefully that message gets across and we start seeing more of them come too, because at the moment for me the pair is brilliant. It's just the liquidity that needs to be more, really. How about you, Jay? What have you liked most?
I mean, apart from what have been said, I like the new registration system. I think it's a good idea because when you promote Decred, you say it's free. It's only on you pay only the on-chain fees. But yeah, so they ask you, yeah, but so you say, yeah, you get to have a registration, you have to put 1 Decred. They don't even know how much is a Decred, maybe it could be 1,000. They don't even know where the money goes and this. So the new registration system is really way better.
Yeah. The Fidelity bond. Now you can officially say there are no fees. The Fidelity bond makes it that way. And also because on the dex.decred.org server, which is the only one currently, you can pay that Fidelity bond in either Bitcoin, BTC, or Decred. Is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And I would presume if we can get markets going for Litecoin, you'll also be able to pay that in LTC as well, before much point. So yeah, and it works really well, locking up funds. And from what Buck was saying, it takes 30 days to unlock. So it's a system where you can't really scam it. It does take a little bit of time, and you do have to have overlapping. But at the moment, the Fidelity bond for if you pay in Decred is something like it is actually 60. It's 2 lots of 2 Decred, so it's $30 dollars per Fidelity bond, and you have to lock up 2, so it's $60.
I think it's a brilliant way to solve the problem of spamming and this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
these mechanisms have to be in place. It's not good enough to say, hey, this is just free. These mechanisms do have to be in place so that it does make it fairer. Another overlooked point, I think, was in your interview, is no front running as well. So you've got the very first decentralized exchange, and like of any exchange, that there's no front running. It's actually impossible to front run any kind of trade that's going on, which I think is undervalued as well. So yeah, DCRDEX is massive. Another thing that I tried out this month was the DEX C so I built a Linux Ubuntu system and installed the actual the software, and I was able to run it on multiple systems, including my iPad, and it was brilliant. There are a couple of security issues that I've had to stop running it, because apparently ChapJC was saying no, it's not the most secure. But after having another discussion with ChapJC, it looks like we're going to be getting HTTPS on that as well. So hopefully that'll be in a few months, which basically means you can set up your home server and you can access DCRDEX from any computer. And I can say, I mean, obviously it wasn't very secure, so I probably shouldn't have done it, but it was brilliant. It worked so flawless. You just open up Safari or you open up your web browser and it just worked. It was absolutely amazing. Have any of you guys tried DEX-C? No. Yeah, like I say, once they get the secure encryption, it'll be the way forward. Has anyone tried Umbrel yet? So for anyone watching, and if you're sorry, Exodus, are you going to say yes?
No, I haven't. I was going to say we're not the most technical people, I suppose.
Well, for anyone watching, and I'm going to have to buy a Raspberry Pi. Unfortunately, the machine that I've got that I was going to install it on, it just wouldn't allow me. So I'm going to go and purchase a Raspberry Pi at some point this month and try it out on that. But for anyone that's already got Umbrel, you can now go to the Decred community store and install the standalone version of DCRDEX. And from what people are saying, it's absolutely brilliant. So it removes the barrier of having to do it through a Decrediton, which slims down the install as well, which is absolutely brilliant. And also Umbrel will allow you to use it from anywhere in the world, so you have it running as a server and access it anywhere. Any other points from you guys about DCRDEX and all the wonderful stuff? I didn't even mention the interface, which is amazing. Yeah, no, the new interface is absolutely brilliant. It is fairly scalable. There's a few things that don't scale particularly well. Maybe the sidebars need to be a little bit more scaling, but generally the new interface looks great, and the new wallet page looks absolutely amazing as well. I
just wanted to publicly, thank the DCRDEX developers that were working really hard on this, and because I know that Jay-Z tried to ask them if they can complete it until that Zec Hub thing, so they worked extra fast to release Zcash and Digibyte. So just wanted to thank the devs. They're really amazing.
Yep.
When you dropped that in the middle of the show, I was like, we've got this pair. This is amazing. I couldn't believe it. It's brilliant.
I hope to see some liquidity there.
Yeah,
It
it'd be
just
nice. It's a
started.
little. It needs an external wallet at the minute, which might be a bit of a deal breaker for LOL. I think the Zcash node is quite heavy now as well, which is a bit of a shame. But just the fact they're saying anyone that wants to run that, and there will be people, I'm sure, it'd be absolutely amazing. On to Bison Relay. Sorry, what you can say?
No, I just wanted to say that I think the Zcash community has a kind of program. I didn't understand it exactly, but basically they get the community. Let's say they have like their own Vanguard. It's not like Vanguard, but let's say it's a similar kind of thing, and they get basically tasks to do. And so one of the tasks they got was to sign up on Bison Relay. So that's why 10 people signed up. And I guess, if I'm not mistaken, the next task he will do is to try DCRDEX. So it's like an effort, educational, promotional, educational at the same time. I think something like that.
Yeah, weekly challenges. I think he put it down as.
Okay,
but yeah,
okay,
it was. I thought that was brilliant. I thought, you know what? In actual fact, if you get the community moving in the same direction at the exact same time, it's powerful stuff actually. And it's one thing I've always been quite considerate of with the Zcash community is they always seem to be on task. They always seem to be, where they should be and talking about the right things. And it was the same with the Monero community. They were on task. They knew what they needed to talk about, and they executed it with precision.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's sometimes Decred doesn't really work like that. We're all a bit fragmented, aren't we? But that's where Vanguard comes in.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nice, great stuff, and I can't wait for them to get that going, and hopefully we'll see some trades there really shortly. So, Opera. Not Opera. Bison Relay 0.17. We've loads of stuff going on. Apparently now we've got 4 bots, which is great. We've got the BR bot, which is the communication bot between Matrix, Telegram, and Discord. So it extends the market of Bison Relay exponentially into the thousands because it can communicate with all the various channels. We've also got Opera, which is a tipping bot, which is brilliant. We've got the GD or GC bot, which is the group bot. GC bot, which I used it this week, and that was great. So I managed to join about 3 different groups. And then there's a monitoring bot for people that want to run their own Lightning hubs. Haven't tried that one yet, so I'm not too familiar with that. There's also a load of other stuff, but can anyone name for me what their favorite feature is of Bison Relay 1.7?
I can go first. I mean, mostly the GC bot you mentioned. I think it's a really good improvement because previously each channel had only one admin, and that was it. And that admin was responsible for inviting everyone and so on. So if someone wants to join a channel and that admin is away from, it's unreachable, then the person needs to wait. It wasn't very convenient. So now with the bot, we also can do this invites, and I think because what came up also in that conversation with the Zcash community is that the hardest part was the setup. But then he said that after that it was just like Telegram to him or Discord. He said it was just as easy to use as those apps. So that's amazing. So that means that the most important is just to reduce the complexity of setting it up. And I think this prepaid invites is an important component of that. If you can send someone just a code, prepaid invite, and he can get into a channel, that's really great. So that's the feature I was excited about.
Yeah, the onboarding side of things, and we've got to remember it's only been around for 5 months. Bison Relay has been publicly available for 5 months, and from when I tried it within that first week to now, it's so much more streamlined. Generally, you can get things working, but the group bot And I was surprised at how easy it was to set it up on my group, because my Bison Relay isn't on all the time. Unfortunately, the machine that I've got it on just kind of auto sleeps. Macs are terrible for this. So it's not on all the time. But I literally just chose the bot as a user, and then selected it as an admin, and it was done. And now anyone can join the Decred magazine channel. Also, an interesting thing is the commands that you can put in. So when you're in chat and you select the group bot, you type in the word help, and up come all the commands that you can actually put in. And then if you type the word list, you see all the groups that it has access to that you can invite yourself to, which I just thought that was absolutely brilliant. How about you, Exus? Anything that you're particularly excited about for Bison Relay?
In general, or from the latest release?
In general, it's fine, but certainly 1.7 has been a massive release.
1.7, I like the new notifications on the sidebar when in the chat. It gets like a yellow notification. I think that's handy. And then when your name is said in one of the chats, it will highlight the text, which is nice. So I don't know if you guys noticed that, but
I haven't seen that.
Really, okay. But yeah,
like
if your name is written in the chat, it'll highlight it, kind of how it's like on Matrix, or I think on Matrix. But yeah, just really excited in general. I don't know if you guys saw the Jake's chat with Mind Your Biz. Did you guys see that podcast? I felt like the way he described Bison Relay there was so interesting, and so I'm gonna put the clip on YouTube, on Twitter pretty soon, just of that bit. But it was so interesting the way Bison Relay specifically works, where there's no accounts and it's truly censorship resistant. So yes, tons of potential with Bison Relay.
I think a lot of people don't realize that this having no account is so powerful. When we've got websites or pages on Bison Relay, and the fact that you'll be able to subscribe to lots of different web pages or lots of different storefronts, and no accounts, not one single time are you giving over your payment details, not one single time are you putting in your real name or your address or your phone number or your email. It's powerful stuff. And I was going through Google Chrome the other day, because I'm trying to kind of de-Google myself a little bit, and going through all of the places where I've got an account, and it's ridiculous. And some of the passwords are so weak, and I'm just thinking, oh, Jesus Christ, this is an absolute mess. And it's got to be the way forward, where no details go past. You've got this private key. That's your access to the platform. End of story. When people realize that, it's powerful. Sorry, Jay, what did you say?
Sorry, Jay.
Tivra, sorry.
No, Jay, you can go ahead if you.
No, because I enjoy the future of right-clicking, because when you're in a group, it makes so easy to tip. You just right-click, tip. The end of the story. Right. There is no finding the guy and find the address, or just right-click, tip, end of the story. Easy.
Yeah,
I forgot right-click is there now as well. Yeah.
It's true.
Go on, Tivra, what are you saying?
No, I wanted to say that basically about the accounts. I think like the internet we were used to is over. Basically, the internet we were used to is dying. Absolutely. That means that this internet of these big corporations that were giving us access to their networks for free. I think this model is unsustainable. And the reason is AI. We have to imagine, okay, now ChatGPT-4 is expensive and so on. But if you're following a little bit, the open source models are becoming better and better every week. There's so much improvement in that space that it's hard to just keep up. And so we have to imagine that not in the distant future, we will have bots internet overflowing with bots, and these bots won't be as recognizable as now. It will be really hard to know if it's a person or not. So the whole concept of so I would say this: there are just two paths from this. I think one is the one that Elon Musk is taking. So basically to KYC everyone. KYC, verify that someone has a credit card or whatever. That's one path forward, and the other is to to build a spam prevention in another way, so in a crypto way. So either you have to do proof of work to make an account, or you need to pay a little bit, like Lightning Network transactions to send content and so on. So there's no other way. There are just these two ways. I mean, I heard some other innovative ways, but they broadly go into these two categories of either you verify someone, or you do kind of, or you make spam expensive in some way, or not free, at least not free. That's at least how I see it. So yeah, so I think all the internet will die, and what we will have in the future, we will have something like Bison Relay, and probably something like Twitter with everyone will be verified. I think there is no third options. What we were used to in the past decade won't exist anymore.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, like I say, it's either got to be the micro payment method where everyone literally has to pay to communicate, and that way it stops the billions, or not billions, but millions and thousands of bots kind of bombarding a chat or bombarding something, or everyone gets verified.
Yeah, and if you have a countless system, at least all those billions of bots will be buying Decred, right? we'll be using Decred.
One of the big problems I have with the Verify system, especially the way that Musk is going to set it up, and presumably all the other big social media platforms are going to set it up, is they're literally going to be holding your credit cards or debit cards, all of your information. And if we're honest, they've not really proven themselves to be massively secure. The amount of leaks that they've had, it gets a bit ridiculous.
That's insane. And the same part is that governments are basically forcing, for instance, centralized exchanges to have this role, and they're not equipped to do it actually. For instance, Poloniex. Sorry, interrupting you. For instance, we used Poloniex in 2017. It was the most popular exchange, and I even for 1 year I even worked there at Poloniex. It doesn't matter, but they have all my KYC, and then you say it's an American company and so on, and then they get bought by Justin Sun, which is, I don't know if he's, but let's say a Chinese company buys it. Now all your data is in the hands of another government, which you don't know if you. I mean, even the American government is hard to trust, so let alone the Chinese.
Have you read the Cryptopians? She talks about the takeover, and the way that he was attacking all the accounts to try and get the dust out of them. It's like, Jesus. Yeah, but I think it's a real problem, and I do see that Bison Relay has got a massive advantage in terms of having the payments layer as the very first thing. So you're never going to have to install another payments layer to communicate your messages, and it certainly does seem like the way forward there. But we'll see how that one pans out. Any other thoughts on Bison Relay? One of the things that I quite like is the send receive functions are now there, so you're no longer locked into Bison Relay. If you close your channels, you can now send all your money out, and it's no longer locked out. I thought that was quite good. Any other things? I think that's mostly everything.
Yeah, I'm really excited from the prepaid code and this. I think they're going to be huge. I'm planning to send in to a lot of people and this. And it's going to be huge.
yes, that's really a big improvement. And I really hope to see more communities join Bison Relay. This is really my wish. So Monero, Zcash, Litecoin. That's something that I hope Vanguard will also accelerate. This community's interest in our products, let's say, especially Litecoin, like we said, because they really they're a big community, so they should be approachable in that way.
Yeah, the people that you're communicating with, Litecoin, Digibyte, and Faro. They've all been so welcoming at the minute. It's been absolutely brilliant. I should also say about Exodus's latest news video, which highlights the updates to Decrediton 1.77 and the user interface, which obviously brings us on to Decrediton and all the big updates, which absolutely looks amazing. Are there any elements of the new upgrade that you guys are specifically enjoying right now, apart from the optimizations?
The intro screen, maybe. I mean,
I love the.
I like. Yeah, there is a bunch of links to explain how Decred works and this, and that's, I think, is the thing we should consider into the DEX, into the standalone DEX. I would like to have like really small place, which explain just some links you can click and explain what is Decred or why is this DEX free, like people studied the standalone version and you got just a really small link, like an ad, almost like an ad, but we explain just stuff of Decred.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I agree.
The intro lessons on the front of Decrediton, I think, that was an absolute genius move, really. I know that those same links are fed into every time you open up a different tab, you can actually read through them, like the Lightning Network stuff. But yeah, it looks really nice. It looks really slick.
I like the blurbs they have next to the different components of the wallet. So if you go to like the governance tab, there's a blurb you can just click and it'll bring you right to the docs, which I think is really nice. I also like the new intro page as well. It's a shame some of the there's placeholder text on some of them though.
Oh really?
But yeah, I think it's overall really, really great release.
Yeah, I mean the Decrediton wallet is just such a full package. If you're wanting to try out the Decred system in any way, whether it be the privacy, the DEX, the Lightning Network, just as a standalone, opening a channel to somebody else. If you want to vote, if you want to buy tickets, literally now Decrediton just makes it easy to participate. Well, it has done for years actually. It's always been a pretty solid wallet. Sorry, Jay.
And the crazy thing is it's efficient. I mean, it's faster than any single coin wallet you can do anything. It's really fast, really efficient, and I think Jeff Collins do a great work about efficiency.
Yeah, I always say that sometimes you need to really use other wallets to really appreciate Decrediton because we are so used to using it that you think, okay, this is normal. Then you try other cryptos wallets and you're like, oh my god, this is like light years behind.
One thing I always hear, especially in the Bitcoin community, is run a full node, and presumably they're not talking about running a full node with open ports. So they're just talking about running a full node so you can verify it. And that is the standard with Decrediton. It's like just run. Decrediton is a full node wallet, which is absolutely amazing, really. Yet another underappreciated event. Although you can run it as SPV as well, which last time I loaded Decrediton took me about 4 hours to do the full sync to the blockchain. Doing it in SPV mode took, I think, less than 30 minutes. I think it's 20 minutes or something. So having those two options is also great. But the last point of business then, that brings us to about an hour point. And once again, guys in the chat, we've got a few people watching. If you've got any questions about anything that we've discussed, obviously chuck up some questions. It'd be great to hear from you guys. But the last thing is this meme idea that Tivra put out, and I thought was absolutely amazing, of the No Scam Alliance. So the way that Tivra's been talking to lots of different communities, including Faro, Digibyte, Monero, Zcash, and just trying to engage other communities and trying to bring back a consortium that basically says, hey, look, we've all got these great technologies. We're all doing it the right way. We're trying to build cryptocurrencies that envisage the original ideas. Let's all come together and start embracing this. And I just thought that was an absolutely great idea. And I mean, do you want to? Sorry, Tivra, this was your thing. So, do you want to tell us where that came from and kind of how you see that unfolding, if it is?
Actually, I don't really remember how the idea started. I know that it started in a chat. I was chatting with someone, but I don't remember who. I will try to remember. But anyway, I think later I was reflecting about it. and I realized, it's really hard to define what all these cryptos we mentioned have in common, right? Like for instance, these standards change so much, like I'm like a crypto boomer, let's say. I'm really old. So
Yeah.
Back in the day, basically, like there was a time when anything that had a pre-mine was a priori a scam. Now it's not like that anymore. Then there was a time when everything that had an ICO was a scam. So this changes a lot. And I also relaxed my own perspective on this. Like for instance, if some coins had like a little bit of a shady beginning, but if then later change and become better, I'm not so black and white anymore as I used to be about this. But anyway, so it's really hard to define, what is not a scam, right? Roughly, that, okay, something that doesn't rug pull, something that doesn't keep just promising and not delivering anything. This is something that we can all agree it's scammy, right? So these things have dominated this space for quite a few years. And I would really like to go back, let's say, to an earlier time where crypto was about other things. But this is not some nostalgia or something. I want it to be some, like really, let's say, hopeful and futuristic message for what comes next. It's not about nostalgia at all. And so what do we have in common, these projects? I think in the end, I came to the conclusion that basically we have a common enemy, because before, if you went back in 2017, 2018, something like this, communities talking to each other could never happen. No way, because they were seeing each other as competition. And okay, now it's changed a lot, and I think the reason is this, let's call it common enemy. And this common enemy is, I don't know how to call it, but this venture capitalist complex together with centralized exchanges. For instance, just we all share this experience, about waiting to go to Coinbase, and then Coinbase basically listing, I don't know, projects nobody ever heard, from and about, and then basically just dumping on retail and so on. So this kind of practice that crypto was, in a way, when I started crypto, I saw it as a way to make the world, especially finance and economy, but the world in general, more rational, more fair, no borders and so on. Okay, this aspect of no borders, this was successful, but the other things not so much, so it didn't, let's say the corruption of the old system returned into this system. No, not system, but in this scene, let's say. And it's in some ways even worse than what came before. So, all these Ponzi's proliferating. And so, yeah. But, I am optimistic, but not too optimistic, to be honest, because just if you see what's happening with the meme coins and so on, like Flocky and all this. This is what. So it's going to be tough, because when people join crypto, they want to find the Ponzi that will make them rich and so on. Okay, it's unfortunate, but I think that being aware of this, let's say, common enemy, and how much defeating this common enemy, or not defeating, but let's say if things were different, all these projects that we mentioned would definitely be in the top. So I think we all agree with that. Yeah.
One thing I like, when I saw the tweeting, the one thing I like is this idea that we should all be sharing. We should all be saying, look, we've just built this stuff, come and try it. We're no longer we should no longer be in a state of mind where it's like, oh, we're going to get this, or we're going to do it this way eventually. Yes. Most of us, the ones that we talked about, have actually built this stuff, and it actually works. And this is what I want to see sharing. This is why I like the idea of the No Scam Alliance, because you say, right, I'm part of No Scam Alliance and I want you to test it. I want you to test what we've built. Here's how you do it, and I'll walk you through it like you guys did with Cointelegraph, and you walked them through our Politeia system and see how it works, so that then you can tell other people in your community, hey, this works. It's not about me saying, hey, I want you to buy Decred. It should never be about that. It should be about, hey, this stuff actually works, and this is why I support the project.
That's a very good way of putting it. Yes.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons I think that the No Scam Alliance could actually work. Is if we say, look, if you want to be a part of this, and you should, we need to talk about what's actually been built, what's actually going on, and then the other community should come and test it. And whether that's with Zcash and they say, hey, we built this, come and test it, and they bring us to their platform, or vice versa. We need to accept that there's a lot of clever people in this ecosystem outside of your meme coins and all the rest of it. And actual fact, there's some great stuff happening, and it doesn't need to be us versus them anymore. It can be like Bison Relay. It just works, so use it. And that's why I was quite quietly optimistic about this approach. Oh, okay. So kind of bringing us to the end. Have you guys got anything else you want to kind of discuss before we kind of sign off?
I'd just like to say I do hope there is a shift away from these kind of joke scam coins to serious projects, and I think it will happen eventually. It's just one of those things. We're in a bear market. A few meme coins are going crazy, and I think in a way it's a good thing. And the reason is it gets people excited about crypto. These kinds of things which bring people in. Oh, my friend made 100x on his investment in crypto. Oh my God, I'm going to put in money. And eventually people will find the serious projects. And before I sign out, I would just say, yeah, Vanguard is just starting. We're really excited. I think initially it's already been very energetic, but again, we literally just started the other day, and Phoenix will get you an invite so you can participate. And
lovely.
Anyone else who wants to, who thinks they can contribute should reach out.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and as Exitus mentioned before, we were thinking maybe, let's say 60 or 70% Decred people, but then also to get like 30, 40%, outsiders would be interesting. Just because, to get some fresh perspectives, like maybe they could show us where we are, like in an echo chamber, or we're not seeing some alternative ways of approaching messaging and marketing and so on. So we are talking about some experiments how to find people really outside of our circle. So there will be a mix of Decred people and some outsiders. So it will be really exciting to see what happens with Vanguard in the near future.
Yeah, the main goal is absolutely to break out of that bubble. That is like the absolutely the number one goal, I would say, of Vanguard. And like Tiver said, very, very good point that maybe outside people can come in and, push us in a, more appropriate direction with marketing.
Yeah, I think, I just put that tweet up or the message up then. I like the idea of moving towards a collaboration more, which I think is absolutely great. And I like the idea. Yeah, I like the idea of the Vanguard bringing in people from different communities, like your Zec Hub. Maybe get him in just so that he can experience, or they can experience, actually the CMS and actually getting paid from a DAO.
That's a good idea.
And then to get their feedback on it. Say, look, this is how it works. Come and do something. Promote whatever you want, but just have a go, participate. And I really like this idea of and I said this at the beginning, that the stack is so good now. The Decred stack and a lot of other community stacks are so good now. If you have real true conviction in what we're building, we need to be inviting people to try this stuff out now. That's the conviction there. Is like, actual fact, I don't need to sell you Decred. I just want you to come and try some of the stuff for yourself, because it works. No more of this soon stuff. It actually works.
Yeah. Exactly. We just the mobile availability of mobile will be just this last, I think, step to really address an even larger audience, because like I'm on my desktop all the time, but I talk to people who never use desktop. So, and just by the way, I wanted to say hi to Guang. I saw he was in the chat.
Yeah. Well, up until last July, I was a teacher, and have been for the last 20 odd years. And the shift that I noticed, I was a secondary school teacher, so from ages 13 all the way up to 18. And the shift that I noticed is that we literally, every room when I joined had computers, we had these central servers. And over the last 5-10 years, we moved away from that to Google servers, and Chromebooks, and iPads, and most of the students were on their phones. And when we surveyed the students, because obviously you need to make sure students are all kind of have access to all the same software so they can do their homeworks and stuff. When we surveyed the students, it was only maybe their mums and dads or their parents or carers that had access to a main computer. But most of the kids, at least like 80%, only had access to Chromebooks, iPads, and mobile phones for their main thing. So yeah, the shift has moved, especially in the younger generations. It has moved to these kind of mobile platforms, and I don't necessarily see that ever changing. So yeah, it does make sense that the stack would be available. At least some of the products would be available on mobile. But that also being said, if you are a serious computer science guy, having a laptop or having a proper desktop, there is no substitute. You're not going to be able to run full servers or full infrastructure if you don't run a proper computer. And that, and that goes for cloud computing as well. Really, you should always test on a facility that you have full access to, rather than going straight to the AWSs of the world. Thank you so much, guys, for participating today. It's been an absolutely amazing chat. Before we head on out, we're about an hour and 11 minutes. Thank you, everyone in the audience, for sticking with us. What are your final sign-offs? Let's start with Jay and move around. So, Jay, final sign-off.
Final sign-off. No, I wanted to say about the non-scamming alliance, that it's okay to not agree on everything, as long as you agree on the core values. I mean, I feel sometimes we speak too much about the details, implementation, and this, but as long as the core values are the same, it's great to be working together.
Fantastic. Tivra?
I just wanted to say that this bear market in some ways feels even different than the previous ones. I think it's like maybe this one is really like that one that happened after the .com bubble, that cleared so many companies, and then slowly it became clear which companies will survive and which won't. And I think maybe crypto is now entering that stage, hopefully, where and in a way, this stuff that is happening in America now, which with the regulation basically being very strict towards crypto, and can even help this process in a way, because it will perhaps it will test which projects really are decentralized, which are really resistant to this kind of censorship by regulation and so on. So anyway, my final words is that Decred's time is coming.
Exodus.
Well, Decred Vanguard is here, and we want to make a lot of noise about Decred. And I think one type of person we really, really want is people who like to make memes. If you are a meme maker, we want you. So yeah. But yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks. Good to talk with you guys.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful conversation. Thank you for hosting.
It's always a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for giving up your time today. And everyone else, we'll see you next month. Take care, everyone.
See you.